Hey, gentlemen. Okay, where's the camera? Right there. Okay, but I'm looking over here to see myself. Okay, so I only had one session last night. Um, and before I get into my unleash session, I would like to talk about a conversation that me, Sean, and George had after my session was over, and was basically about the long, long, long time ago situation with me, E, Kyrie, in the DM of Legends about the store. Uh, we are so basically they were trying to say that I think they were trying to say that I was. Hopefully, they can give the input on this. That I was kind of a bad person for burning E of all his points. Yeah, for burning E of all his points, and yeah, just for burning E of all his points after we had a deal, whatever. And I was trying to express to them that the only reason why he was trying to strong arm me at the last second of the deal after we already agreed to something, and because of that, because of the fact that we had made an agreement on something, and he went back on it to try to get more at the last second, I decided to screw him harder and burn him of everything after the deal was done. I the funny thing is I still stand on what I did. Like I don't it doesn't bother me. Like I don't feel bad about what I did. What I do feel bad about is the fact that because of it, then because of that action, then that I guess my name has been tarnished. Like Sean made the statement, like, yeah, I would never deal with Keith, and it's like that sucks because I know that some things carry over from real world into a fake world. So I actually hit up the DM today, and the DM's worked on his store and the giftage and everything like that. So I hit up the DM, and yeah, and I hit him up because I wanted to ask him, like, hey DM, listen, I was like, how many points did I have left over from? Damn, I'm watching this truck like he's about to hit this other truck. Like, how many points do I have from left over from the store or whatever? I was like, and I like, do I still have like 4,000 to 3,000 points? Because if so, I would want to give E at least his original 1,000 points back. And the DM was like, nah, you don't have that many points, player. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I tried. Like, and the demon told me that he took care of it anyway. Like he did some shit. I don't know if he wants to say want me to tell him what happened, but he did something, and you know, he did. He's the shit. So he did what he had to do, so he wouldn't feel 100% screwed, I guess, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Um, so it was just one of those things that it was bothering me that somebody tried to screw me over. Somebody tried to actually screw over something. I, in return, fucked them all the way over because they tried to screw me over. And I'm the only person that's left with the bad mark on my name. Like, that's just BS to me. But that's neither here nor there. So, got that 5 minutes out the way. Hey guys, I tried to reverse it, and I tried to help E give E his points, but the DM already took care of shit, so I didn't have to do so. So, anywho, all right. So last night I got in my game, and I can't remember the last time I had a session in real world period where it was just me having a conversation with one person for, I got in like 7:30 to 10:30. What was that, 3 fucking hours? Yeah, 3 hours of having one conversation with one person for 3 hours. And I was completely 100% fully engaged in the game. I didn't want the fucking session to end. Um, he actually was like, listen, I gotta go do some shit. I need to leave. And I'm like, wait, no. I didn't want him to go. I didn't want to leave nowhere. So, okay. So where I finally left off was I was in this void, this pocket dimension. Um, I bought the information on the Master of the Horde, and it starts off with a quote from Zythan, and it also informs you that when you get the Horde, you master the Horde, become a Master of the Horde, you will receive a pocket dimension in which the Horde, will reside. So you always have access to them because they're in a pocket dimension that you carry around with you, basically. So I was in that pocket dimension. And after a little trial of defeating some of the Horde, 100 of regular skeletons and 12 of the more knighted armored skeletons, I got to meet Zythan. And before I got to Zythan, I'm just trying to recap in my mind. Before I got to Zythan, I thought Zythan was evil, was a bad guy. I mean, he had that stigma. He's the master of the Horde. It's like, there's a bunch of they're like dead. They're like the undead, necromancer type of shit going on. And even before that, I was talking to the avatar of one of the elder gods. I have the person's name in my notes. I just can't think of it now. But one of the avatars of the elder gods, I think her name was Shalia. Shalia is like a 6-foot silver fox. And she was telling me, she was like, because the forest that I had entered in my last description was like all like decayed and barren. And she was saying that Zythan had did it. And that she was thanking me for for fixing it. Because somehow I had fixed the forest when I was going through portals. When I went to the realm, the mortal realm, the portal, I guess it reestablished the normal natural basis of where the forest was before Zythan had made it barren. So she was thanking me, and I was like asking her, like, well, how can I find Zythan? And she was just like, you don't want to find him, like, you don't understand things about him, blah blah blah. And come to find out, she had also told me that the Nerazim was going to come, and in Zythan anyway. So I'm thinking like, all right, Nerazim. The Nerazim is basically a group of followers to Nerazim. You heard the name Nerazim before because Nerazim is the young lady that she was basically Anwari? No, she's not Anwari. I can't think of the Atrium. Atrium? Yeah, something fancy like that. I think it's Atrium. She's one of those people, and they really deal with mystic, magic stuff. So, but she's the young lady that was in my head, and she was like, and Shalia was like that, she's supposed to come here to rid the world, basically not to rid the world, but to stop Zythan. So I'm thinking that Nerazim is an enemy of Zythan. So when I get pulled up to Zythan and I finally meet him, I can't wait to tell him, like, yo, I hate Nerazim too. She betrayed me. Yo, fuck the Guardians. We gonna kill these motherfuckers. You need to take me in, and you need to teach me how to be a master of the Horde so I can rock out with you. And we about to fuck these Guardians and Nerazim up. I got your back. So, so when I meet Zythan, and everything about him makes him seem like he's the most evil person in the world. He's just 100% bad guy. So I should start off with gun. I start going just gun ho like, yo, we share enemies, Nerazim and the Guardians, and he's just looking at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? Um, and it's something that I thought was fucking super dope on the behalf of the DM. I honestly think, oh, well, the whole thing is after he broke it down, I think that the prophecy is true that the Nerazim or Nerazim is supposed to come and stop um, Zythan. I don't think it's how she believes it to be true. I think he's supposed to stop what he's doing because of his love for Nerazim. He actually loves Nerazim. He was the apprentice. He was an apprentice under. Basically, he was the apprentice of Nerazim apprentice, and then I think after he became an equal to her, they formed a relationship. He actually loved Nerazim. He got blamed for Nerazim's death, which actually happened from a primal, as I said from a video before. He got blamed for her death because he found her after a primal had what he thought absorbed, took her essence and everything. He basically killed her, and he was trying to put her together and everything. And when they found him with her body, they just blamed him for it. And they thought that what he did was he made her a member of his horde. So yeah, so basically he's fucked. Like he was fucked up because not only are they blaming him for killing somebody, he actually loved Nerazim. So I think he's supposed to stopping Zythan from the Nerazim or Nerazim is because he chooses to basically fall back and not do anything crazy or just chill out more because the one that he loves is back. And he probably chooses to be with her and do shit like that and carry out different methods of magic and things of that nature. Because Nerazim was really all about peace. She was actually against the primal. Because when I'm coming to find out that the primal it was so deep. The primals are the enemies basically of the world, the universe, fucking everything. They're a race of beings that are basically here to destroy the universe so it can repopulate and rebirth itself. So everybody else is basically fighting against that. And that war is called the Eternal War. And that's the war where basically the primals versus our universe, basically. So that's why, and that's how when I say, there's actually 7 guardians on this planet. The guardians had lost their planets from the primals. So that's why there's 7 guardians on this one planet, because after the primals took over their planets or destroyed their planets, they had nowhere to go, which is odd because Zythan said that normally it's supposed to happen is that when a primal takes over a planet, the guardian usually dies with the planet. So for them to still exist and be here is strange and it's odd, and it happens to 7 different planets. So that's just weird in itself. So once I find out that that whole angle of coming after relating to Zythan because we have the same enemies. Once I realized that shit doesn't work. We're talking about Nerazim and everything like that, or her work and shit like that. Then it fucking hits me. It hits me oh shit, Nerazim, she really didn't betray me. She actually was trying to save my life. With Iroku and the whole thing where, Iroku, the Guardian, took my powers. My not my powers, but my primal energy. That she was basically the reason why she had lied to me or omitted the information about how she died was because she was scared. She was protecting herself. However, when it felt like that Iroku, when my life was threatened by Iroku, she decided to plead with everything she had for me not to be killed. And that was even, sacrificing and telling him everything so he can understand that she was, that she was being truthful and she wasn't hiding anything. So basically, she sacrificed because she had no idea that he was going to separate her from me. She basically sacrificed her, I guess, her good conditioning or her good standings with me to save my own life. Um, but all that came like after everything happened. Like I'm just realizing that now I'm talking to Zythan. And so just not like finally having like somebody not actually betray me and me being able to understand and see it in a different light um really had me reevaluating life and looking at shit a lot differently. So I'm talking to Zytan and I asked him about becoming the master of the horde, and he kind of took the one from out from under my sails by he was just basically saying like, listen, I'm not going to I'm not going to train you to be a master of the horde. He's like, you will not be my apprentice. He said, it makes no sense. It'll be a waste of my time. He said, first of all, you're about to die. Like the way the primals work, like your body is basically feasting upon itself, and you're about to die soon. He said, you have that. Then he said you have like 3 different marks by different guardians, and you have one that says like basically somebody's coming to kill you. You have one from Iroku that says he doesn't fuck with you, and then you have another one that says that no guardians should fuck with you or answer your calls, nothing like that. He's like, so basically, me training you on how to be a master of horde. He said you probably won't be here in 6 months, so it's like there's no point for me to train you at all, like whatsoever. So that was early in our conversation. So once he saw that I was basically like telling him like after Nerism told me that I was greater than what I am now. Like I was more than just a soldier or whatever. I was far more intelligent than being just a random soldier. And we were starting to talk. Like I was telling Zytan about the gazers and how I was actually on air when it was before it was destroyed. And I got to find out before I go into the gazers. I'll tell you the air situation on what happened with my planet and me being my subset of my subspecies of Zythan being exterminated. So the reason why we were being exterminated is because most Zythan have this thing called the soul screen. So when you go to still, you know how I absorb people. Well, when you go to absorb people as any of the other Zythan, when you go to absorb people, there's this soul screen that you have to battle, and more than likely, that thing will drive you crazy, and you'll lose control of yourself. The devouring Zythan, we don't have that. So the galactic community, where we are now, like on Helios and all the galactic community that surrounds them, they were telling the Zythan like the devouring, basically like the devouring Zythan, they might be a problem, as well as the Zythans are basically they're like offsprings of the primals. So we already had a negative strike against us from our primals being the enemies of the galactic community and everything like that. So the reason why, like, in order for the Zythan to become a part of the galactic community, they decided to kill off the devouring subspecies. Now, come to find out, which I knew before, was the devouring species was only like roughly like 2% of the Zythans period. So it was like killing off a small set of Cephalon to save the entire race, basically. So so Um, I learned that information about the Cephalon. Um, so I was talking to him about I was talking to Zythan about how I acquired Nerism, period. And she was saying, I was telling them like I was on the like I met the Gazers. I was on the Gazer ship, and he went on to tell me like that it's really rare for me to have met a met a Gazer, let alone be on this ship, let alone meet the primals. So I was telling him about the fact that I met the Gazers. I was on this ship. They have like this vast library of essences from like all the races from all throughout the world and everything. And I was also telling them like on the Primal's Leviathan that I crash landed on from the Gazer ship, the coordinates to get back to the Gazers was on the pod that I was in that I used to crash land. I was like, so if Iroku didn't destroy the Leviathan that I was on, you know, it's possible that we could I could get back to the Gazers, to the Gazers, whatever. And the Gazers, they work outside of the galactic community, and their technology is like far beyond what any of us has ever seen or known of. And he was saying, Zaitan was basically saying that the the tech that they have, he was saying like that the prime like he's more than sure that the primals, they work with like genetics and stuff like that. So they're not like their intellect on technology is far inferior to the what the Ethereans. I think I got their name right. The Ethereans know because they're more technology based and or they're more mystical based, and they haven't been able to understand the technology of the Gazers. So he was saying how dope that would be for him to to be able to be there. And I was saying like, listen, I have no problems with if the Leviathan still exists, I have no problems with helping you get like if I can go back to the Leviathan like and find out the coordinates. I was like, I'll take you with me. I was like, because with my primal energy, more than likely if I have the coordinates, if I get my primal energy back and with him somehow, more than likely I could teleport us there, like using my primal energy or whatever. So like he was really like he was basically saying like that might not be a possibility because of speaking of anything that's outside of the galactic community is kind of really frowned upon. And I found out that I had this necklace or chain or something around my neck that kind of was it was kind of like something that was put on me to keep me quiet from talking about um, the things from the past worlds, like things that go on outside of the galactic community. So he was telling me that like if I tried to take it off, I probably would die. I'd probably die if I took it off, whatever. And he was telling me like if Aurora, who was the messenger from Nuia, he was telling me like if Aurora was as incompetent because I didn't know anything about the fucking necklace chain thing. Like I probably put it on or didn't know. I don't remember putting the shit on, but she was saying if he was saying that if Aurora was as incompetent as I said she was, that she probably didn't even inform me that taking this thing off would fucking kill me, and she didn't, and that's why I killed her. because of her incompetence. But I knew she wasn't going to be like dead, because she told me. I asked her before, and she said she'll go back to the World Trade. So I didn't kill her to like have her cease to exist. I killed her because to get her out of my face, and it was my way of letting off steam for her being an idiot, basically. So I spent basically the 3 hours talking to Zythan, trying to come up with a plan to plead to grovel to the Guardians to spare me. Like, I'm at the point now, remember when I was like big and bad and tough and shit like that, and I wasn't taking shit from nobody, and I was going around smacking people? Like, I had a I had a change of heart, basically. So I'm just at a different place where I'm taking the words that that Narizim was giving me. I'm taking those words, and I'm starting to try to live a life a different way, seeing that the shit that I learned and what I've become was from people who betrayed me anyway. So why do I hold on to these ideologies when they haven't got me anywhere? Like, so basically me and Zythan basically hashed this plan of me talking to the Guardians and making a plea for my life again. And he was telling me that I should, try not. It was a bunch of things. I don't want to go into it because I'm already 26 minutes, like 27. So yeah. So basically, that was the session. I had left off because he really wants to go find his love in Arizona. So he was leaving he wanted to hurry up and leave to go do that. And that left me. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go. He would open up a portal so I can walk through that will lead me to the temple, to Novia's temple, to make my plea to meet the Guardians, to make a plea deal for my life back and my primal energy back, basically saying that I would be definitely responsible. And there's so many things I'm willing to sacrifice for that. So yeah, I had a change of heart. I'm a whole new guy now. I'm basically about to become a vegan and offer that to him. Like, I won't kill, touch anything, any type of animal products. I will be a vegan. You can take my arms away from me. Whatever you want to do for me to get my primal. But I was like, and it also came down when he was saying that I probably should sacrifice my affliction. And what he means by that is I should sacrifice, tell them to take away me being a primal, take it away from me. And so hopefully that all this should work. All right, I'm at 28 minutes. I'm so sorry, gentlemen. Please forgive me. I will talk to you guys on here later.